time it is.
Welcome to the C-Squared Hour. Thank you for allowing me to grace you with another hour of my thoughts, opinions, and really the answers to everything in the world. So, going any further, right now I am drinking Voodoo Ranger Juicy Haze IPA from New Belgium Brewing. I need to really learn how to fucking say that word better. But New Belgium, and now I'm going to talk about the beer because the beer is very good, and at 7.5%, you'd expect it to be like really hard, really, but it's pretty light. So I could see in the summer at barbecues yelling, drinking this and yelling racist things at my neighbors. So by all means, usually higher alcohol. Beers are either darker or they're of the malt liquor variety. Either way, you're not drinking more dark beers. And if you're drinking malt liquor, you're with people who already share the same racist viewpoints as you do. So, you're not in much trouble. But yeah, Juicy Haze IPA, 7.5 alcohol. It's very good. So I'd highly recommend it. But what I don't think you cocksuckers are realizing, and I appreciate all the help with picking out beers and doing all that, and it's really great. I've come across new ones based on your recommendations, and I couldn't be happier. Here's the problem: these guys are out of Fort Collins, Colorado. There is no goddamn way a brewery. There's no way that they are going to find some douche nozzle talking in his room in Spokane, Washington, and throw him a bunch of money or throw him a bunch of free beer for doing the podcast. All right, I'm shouting out beers, so you guys give me local people so I could meet face to face and maybe get free beer out of this. That's all I'm trying to do. And yeah, I appreciate the help. This is a fantastic beer. I am really enjoying this. In fact, if it wasn't even recommended, I probably would have skipped straight over it. Just, I don't know, I see 7.5 and I figure I'm only it's not the kind of beer you can have, more than two at a sitting, but I could definitely, spend all day drinking this. So I'm definitely impressed. But people from Fort Collins, Colorado are not gonna invest in this yet. So give me some local ones. Let me try to get free beer out of this shit, and then we'll go from there. Anyway, Voodoo Ranger Juicy Haze IPA. It's quite honestly, it's very fantastic. So what I wanted to before I really got going, you may be asking where the other Chris is. And really, he's been doing something that's been weighing on his mind quite a bit. He's a big fan of the National Enquirer. And so, he's actually been reading that since probably about 6 or 7 years old. He would actually, rather than, get comic books as a kid or, baseball cards, he'd actually go buy copies of the National Enquirer. So that was pretty interesting. What he's decided to do, he found some free time, and he's actually going off to investigate the JonBenet Ramsey disappearance. So it's a pretty good cause, and I'm pretty excited for him. So I hope he comes up with some new theories and things like that. So we will see. As I started and left off my last episode, which again was over a week ago, I had some shit come up last week, and I'm also lazy and didn't have a chance to do this last week. Like I said, Randy, The offer's still there. I haven't forgot. Just because you top golf and gamble with me does not mean the offer isn't still there. Lace them up, bud. Lace them up. I'm ready. You better be ready. I'm telling you, I'm not that tough. Like you, I don't think you'd have that problem with me. So I'm just saying, if you don't want to, just say it. Just come out and say you're a big hairy pussy. Just say it. It's fine. It's fine if you are. That's fine. Just say it so I stop wasting my time. With that being said, if I seem a little bit out of it this episode, I do apologize. I was taking a bit of a nap earlier today, as I tend to do. Being, again, we talked about laziness and whatnot. Taking a bit of a nap, and my dog, to get my attention, first she starts barking, then she starts nibbling if that doesn't work, and I take quite a bit to wake up, so a lot of times that doesn't work. Now, if the nibbling doesn't work, she starts fucking headbutting me. So I may be concussed, and I have no idea about it. She's a smaller dog. She's on the smaller size, about 30 pounds or so. So she knows she doesn't have the most mass behind her head. So what she does is she gets running fucking starts to headbutt me to wake me up. So my last dog, huge fucking head. If he would have headbutted me, he would have knocked me out. But she makes sure she gets something going. So yeah, if I seem out of it, just give me just cut me a little break. I'm doing my best. Plus, I'm the fucking late summer allergies I'm getting now that it's turning into fall. I'm still golfing and all this nonsense, so struggling with that too. Don't worry, not the Rona. I get semi looked at once a week, so don't worry about it. Obviously, with what I like to talk about, the first presidential debate happened, as well as the vice presidential debate. And we were supposed to have another one, but that got canceled. Let's just say the first presidential debate, did anyone expect anything different? It was a goddamn mess, and it was supposed to be. Trump did what he did. He did what he does. He's going to own it. He's going to come in and make sure nothing happens. Biden at points tried to take the high road, couldn't do that. Tried to play his game, couldn't do that. Tried just speaking to America, wouldn't do that. It was a goddamn mess. We learned nothing. And honestly, I still think Trump has it won based on the first debate. And I mean, I thought you learned more from the vice presidential debate than anything. It's because they actually, it's funny watching Mike Pence try to play the Trump game. He just can't do it. He tries to go Trump on Harris, and it just doesn't work. But Harris definitely, definitely, Harris does have a very condescending look to her that Hillary didn't have. It was pretty cool, and I know. I saw one meme where they compared her look to the kid who was getting yelled at wearing the MAGA hat by the Native Americans. So that was funny, even though by saying that's sexist. I apologize. So here are I had more takeaways from the VP debate than I did from the presidential debate. I learned absolutely nothing from the first presidential debate. The two biggest things I learned from the VP debate: Kamala Harris's shoulder pads were way too big, and Mike Pence has disturbingly large ears. I never noticed that till that debate. I mean, I guess it was, they were zoomed in more than they did in other debates, or it was... I gotta say, I feel bad for Pence a little bit. Just for the simple fact is, the fly landed on his head, and that was funny, and we all got a good laugh about it. But if it landed on Harris, we would have never known, because she has dark hair, not not saying that as in a sexist way or a racist way, but calm down, calm down. As a man who is both balding and going gray, I feel for the guy. So I know if I had a dark, a mane of dark luscious hair, a fly in there wouldn't be a problem. I mean, who knows? It could have came out of her hair. We wouldn't have known because it would have been the same color. So, before we start throwing stones or fly swatters, let's look where it look where it goes. But here's the thing that bugs me, and as you know by listening to this, I am not a smart man, but I can make every goddamn fucking argument for these people if they would just let me. I mean, the only worthwhile line in any of the two debates was Trump saying, "I've done it more in 47 months than you have in 47 years," to Biden. And regardless if that's true or not, god damn, that's a great fucking line. There's no coming back from a line like that, because all you can do once you say that is start throwing facts at him, well, I did this, but that doesn't matter. The soundbite's there. That's what Trump's figured out, winning in sound bites, not winning in facts. And it's great. The Dems need better sound bites, and they need them not to come from Trump himself, because no one cares what a fucking candidate. I talked about Pelosi getting her hair done and saying that she was tricked. No one cares what they do. I mean, we're already done talking about that. So you gotta get the sound bites from yourself. You gotta get that, even if they're fucking weird. Grab 'em by the pussy has stuck on real well. So, but that was the only line worthwhile. If you look at the VP debate, and I don't know who you'd have to talk to, who you'd have to speak to, or what fucking college you'd have to go to understand, like, you have to play the game the opposite way you're doing it. Biden and Harris both go up there and they are saying, hey, look, here's how liberal we're going to do things. Here's how liberal we're going to do things. Here's how liberal we're going to do things. Pence and Trump, well, Trump just, makes fun of Biden, and Pence, here's how conservative we're going to do things. You already got those people in the fucking bag. I mean, if you're Mike Pence and you are sitting across from a Democratic candidate who has made her career on mass incarcerations for drug offenses and for hiding evidence in cases as a prosecutor, in this day and age when there's a hefty side of the liberals who think that defunding the police is a good fucking idea, you're going to tell me that's not where you're going to attack? You already got the people you're talking to. Like, your commercials, let your commercials talk to your base, just to remind them who you are. The debates are to say, holy shit, look, what would that's a good point. I'm on the blue side of being a moderate, and I look at what she did as a prosecutor, and that goes against all the fucking knees and protests we've been taking the last year or so. Or, I mean, you can go back till, 2016 when this first started. That's another thing I'm going to learn. Don't fucking throw my notepad on the computer. It always pauses my recordings. But that you're not talking to your base. Yes, your base is already going to fucking vote for you. So stop pandering to your fucking base. It's not going to work. Even I still think it's a foregone conclusion for Trump, right? But he needs to stop pandering to all the MAGA people and all those. Start pandering to the moderates. Start pandering. I mean, especially if you already have a term under your belt, and you're running for a second term. If you haven't already lost your main pool, which you haven't, in fact, I've seen slightly more people who said, hey, I didn't vote for Trump last time, and I mean, public figures, so who the fuck does this mean? But I've seen more public figures saying, hey, I didn't vote for Trump last time, but I'm voting for him this time because of X, Y, and Z. You want to get the moderates. You want to get I mean, if you're Donald Trump, the one thing that you can get the young people with, because young people, and I'm talking under 40. I'm not talking about these kids these days. College to middle management age. What you could get is your whole thing is you want to make America quote unquote great again, whatever the fuck that means. Anyone who speaks for him, says it's about, personal freedoms and things. Speak about that. Speak about how you're not going to be locking up all these people in mass numbers, despite what Harris says. Say how you're on the side of, the downtrodden, regardless of what they think they are, and then, you pull up Biden's voting record, which bugs me too, because you're talking about shit that you're talking about shit in the 60s where, if you didn't think like that, you're getting voted out of any fucking... Everyone's a fucking snake. Everyone's fucking full of shit. If you don't think like that, if you don't have those views about, hey, let's keep the schools separate or whatever, you're going to get voted out of office. So now that the paradigm has shifted, now we're supposed to look back. And you know who the biggest problem with that is? It's Bernie fucking Sanders. This is what you get. The reason the Dems aren't going to win this election is because these dumbass skeletons in the closet of Joe Biden, who's been there for 50 years, they are there because Bernie Sanders 4 years ago made it a point to say, oh yeah, I was the only one to vote against the Iraq war. Yeah, it's because you had the same information as everyone else and you were being a contrarian. That doesn't make you better. That means you have all these, these quotes and these things that go directly to the constituents of Biden 47 years ago or whatever, and you're going to use that against it. They're going to use that against him, and you can't use it against the Republicans really, because from what I've seen, there isn't really a Republican candidate that's using it that way. So, I mean, you could say the last election was won by Trump because of Bernie. If this one wins, you could thank him again, but more for the thought process of the Dems and how looking back on voting record counts. I wasn't even going to talk about that, but I went up. So anyway, the debates were garbage. What I didn't want to do, because I was going to record the night of the debate, and I only missed that by 10 days. So I wanted to see what was going to happen the 2 to 3, the whatever days. What happened on social media with the MAGA people, with the with the Democratic side, with the Republican side. Within 20 minutes, I jump on, and to do this, you really have to look at Facebook. You can't look at Instagram or Twitter, because the people who are going to cause the most issues on Twitter or the people who are going to cause the most issues only use Facebook. Anyone on the Republican side of Twitter or Instagram is going to be able to have a reasonable conversation. What you want is the Facebook people who have the opinions that are supposed to stay in your great uncle's basement that are coming out. So Facebook is the only place you can do this experiment. Plus, it's a lot harder to be a Facebook troll than it is to be a Twitter troll. Facebook, by the way it's built, is more personal, more... You could make a Twitter account and seem real a lot easier than you can a Facebook account and seem real. So when we look into that, what we're looking to do is, I don't know where I was going, but what I wanted to say was by looking at the memes that were coming up, and I started seeing the MAGA memes first, which is what it is. I'm not saying good, bad, indifferent. Apparently, they were all mad at Chris Wallace for debating against Trump as well. If you watch that fucking debate, there's no way you could blame that fucking guy. The moderator of that debate had did more to try to keep it on the rails than he probably should have. The problem is Trump interrupted, Trump jumped in, and so yes, he had to get a talking to by the moderator more often. But there's no way the moderator. If you look at the questions that were asked, I thought they were a little tougher on Biden's side. If you want to be completely honest, the issue was that Trump didn't let Biden hang himself, because Biden would start talking and he would just say, hey, fuck it, let's start going. I honestly thought Trump would have had a better debate if he would have shut his mouth more, because it did seem like a lot of the questions that would have tripped Biden up were tripping him up, but you couldn't really tell because you were yelling over every time you were yelling over it every time he was getting tripped up. So, and then the libs, who really I don't think had much to say about the debate. I mean, you could laugh that Biden told him to shut up a couple times, and that's basically what I saw. They were making fun of Joe Biden. Every meme was Barack saying, no, just take the high road, and Joe saying, I called him an idiot or told him to shut up. So those were the two takeaways. By the way, apparently my 15-year-old tablet isn't going to be working anymore. I'm sorry, maybe 13 years old. Finally, I have this little tablet that I've been watching shit in the background with to, keep my mind on pace or on track. And finally the live TV things are going out on it. Like they don't update. So I basically have, you remember those like tiny square black and white TVs that you'd see older people with on their porch. I know I'm not that much of white garbage where I'm the only person who's seen this, all right? But they have those little black and white ones with the rabbit ears on the porch. That's the equivalent to the screen I have in my studio. And so I was trying to watch Premier League darts, but apparently this can no longer support it. So what the fuck am I going to do now? I don't know. I mean, all I really need it for is, the live TV app, which I already have, the email and the social media, so I don't have to clog up my computer with all your guys' nonsense for this. And, I mean, rare cases porn, but, I could use my phone for that, but I have a pretty big phone, so, I don't, I don't know, who knows, maybe if I get the bigger tablet. I digress. So, the second debate, from what I've seen, is officially canceled. Not postponed, not anything like that. Because Donald Trump tested positive for Asian AIDS. I'm sorry, the coronavirus, COVID-19. It seems awfully convenient, like a lot of other things. I'm looking at it canceled. And now I don't think, honestly, COVID wasn't necessarily government created. It was, however, government spread. And yeah, of course, it's the Illuminati and it's all these people, but it's not one side or the other. It's just people who are just saying, you know what? Let's just watch the one world government people. If we could get this society to collapse in on itself, you already have the Chinese who are already, the majority of them are off living in the boonies, off in the sticks that aren't gonna. I mean, quite honestly, I still think it's the Russians. I've been on the Russian kick since 2006. I've been knocking this horn for 14 years, saying, hey, we're worried about the Middle East, but we gotta worry about the Russians. I didn't forget the Miracle on Ice, and I even remember when Mitt Romney brought up in the second debate against Obama, when he said, yeah, we're worried about this, but we really got to worry about Russia. I was fucking on the phone with everyone I talked to. I fucking told you. And it turns out I was right. So, anyway, I think Trump caught it. Because that's who they feel would be more... I don't know, it would make it easier for their side of the... If Biden caught it, it wouldn't be as polarizing as if Trump got it. So I think one of the candidates was going to get it during this election cycle. But just the way it looked, one of them had to get it, right? You're talking, there's been the arguments that it affects the elderly more. There's been talks that, both these gentlemen are, some of the oldest candidates of, ever, if not the oldest combined. I don't know if that's true or not, but they had to, one of them had to get it, right? It just happened. Trump makes it more polarizing. Where was I going with all this? I know I had fucking points. Oh yeah, so I was talking about the second debate, and I was talking about looking at all the memes on Facebook and everything like that. I have a new hobby, and it is very fun. And for those of you that are still on Facebook semi-regularly, do this for me. There's 3 levels of people. All right? There is your old relatives who barely know how to operate the internet, who are using the consumer cellular tablet or whatever to post their post their things or whatever. Then there is your older uncle, parents, younger uncle kind of sect where they were perfectly, they don't know how to handle everyone seeing their opinion. I mean, they're fine. They know the technology and they know how it works and everything like that. They just don't know what it looks like seeing their opinion. And then you get the younger people who, because they've spent their entire life growing up with everyone seeing their opinion, think that there's the opinion that matters. And I'm not saying one's worse than the other. I'm not doing all that. But here's what happens with all this. You have the older people who barely understand technology, and then you're having them try to read sarcasm on an internet post, and then you have the people who you would never speak to if those were their real thoughts, if they spouted them there, and then you have the young people. Watching families fall apart over a goddamn election that's already been decided is fantastic. I don't know how many... I'm gonna extend this offer. I hate Thanksgiving for the simple reason it just has to be a fucking thing. If we could order pizza and do the same fucking thing, I would love Thanksgiving. All right. I'm gonna extend an invitation. Any of you that have managed to have your family Thanksgiving fucked because of the younger cousin who doesn't shut up about their beliefs, the older relative who doesn't understand how social media works, and we're looking at 3 generations. So oldest, the middle generation who just spouts off their shit for public so everyone sees it. If any of those people have ruined your Thanksgiving, you are welcome to come into my house. Because goddamn, those are some great stories. I've seen it over and over again where just people people are arguing over social media, and it's just fucking great, and it's families, and they don't know how to handle it. Like, I thought, you were my cousin, and they take it so goddamn seriously, and it's so fantastic. I was watching one where a few things were happening here. All right, we had I guess I would call it if we're counting the oldest at 1, counting the middle at 2, and we're calling the youngest 3, and this is all of adults. I would call it a 1.5 person, commenting, about how terrible Trump is and all this stuff. But it was something different, like how do kids learn in school or whatever, and then their child posted something like, oh yeah, because they're big right wing MAGA people for whatever reason they want to be. It's, quite honestly, I know them, but I couldn't tell you why they were, because I'm not sure they could tell me why they were. And then we have, relative closer to my age who's, big flaming liberal going off of that. But the fight started because, and this is another thing I find fucking great, is you sit there, it especially happens with sports. It especially happens with sports teams. You're sitting there and you're watching an old family member, you're watching an old friend who are talking, I've been the biggest Seahawks fan since I was 10 years old. No, we went and bought 49er stuff together when you were 12, buddy. Or I've been an ally since well, no, you did try to get your gay neighbors to move out of the neighborhood in 85. So you haven't been an ally your whole life. Watching them trying to backtrack. I know I'm going all over the place, but trust me, this is going to come to a good place. Watching them, get on their high horse on Facebook, like, how dare someone say this about that? Then, their neighbor from 1985 says, well, you're the one who passed around the petition to try to get me out of the neighborhood. And, there goes that. And then the kid who was raised by that 85 parent, who still believes in what the 85 parent was recent, all of a sudden starts an argument. And then the, 2005 starts an argument with there, and then all of a sudden people are getting blocked, people are getting deleted, people are getting removed, and all from the same family, all from the... It is fantastic watching it, and just watching just families crumble over something that only a third of the group involved in the argument understands is fantastic. I talk to my dad all the time about this, and I can't remember the last real serious thing I shared on social media. The serious things I share are always tongue-in-cheek, to a certain extent. I made a joke today about mail-in voting. I went off on the whole voting thing, and someone made a joke about, the mail-in voting and all the fraud, and so I said, I don't know what everyone's big deal is. All 4 of my votes counted, so... I don't know where I was going with that. I just watched, families destroying each other over that. So it was pretty interesting. The second debate was canceled, and yeah, the president's COVID was oddly. You should see the notepad I have here right now. It's way more unorganized than the last one, and you can definitely tell because I have it, some in that, some going north to south, some going east to west. It's fantastic. It's more representative of who I am as a person. So, Trump getting COVID is the more polarizing candidate to get it. So that's who had to get it. I believe that this Chinese AIDS pandemic, is real, did happen in Wuhan. I believe it, probably not the World Health Organization, because they don't know, they can't seem to figure out anything. And we could have this argument, should Trump trust the WHO? Should we stay in? say what you want, but they've said 5 different things this last fucking week. So let's stop pretending like they are the be all and end all. I mean, trust me, I would take their word over, Generation 1.5 on Facebook. So again, it's either the Illuminati, and here's the thing I want to know, and how much of how rampant is COVID in Russia and the former Soviet Union countries? If we want to go further down with my conspiracy, I'll have to look that up. Here's what's going to happen. I won't. And, I'll just, forget about it next time. Whatever. The Illuminati decided that it was more divisive to give it to Trump. So they made sure someone in his circle got it, and he got infected with it. Now, I think everyone's, trying to talk about the election and trying to talk about all this other nonsense that really isn't, I don't think, as big of a deal for the New World Order. Not the Hollywood Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, not the good one, the one that they're trying to go. We gotta think bigger. We're just trying to get the fucking country to burn in from itself. I think it's just another thing, like the mask thing. All right, I'm not gonna sit here and argue if it helps, if it doesn't help, because obviously, doctors wear it, bank robbers wear it. So, there's 2 pretty good professions that if they're wearing them, if they trust them, maybe you should. Bank robbers who don't wear masks get arrested. Doctors who don't wear masks get fined. So if you look at those 2 professions, I would put them on opposite ends of the spectrum. If both of them tend to work better with the mask, maybe it's a good thing. It's obviously not one sided or the other. Hell, people cooking meth, tend to wear masks, which is, a good thing, or the ones that are good at it. So I'm not going to sit there and start that whole argument, is it good, is it bad, does it help, does it not help? But here's what it does, and here's what the Illuminati and the New World Order, it may not be the Illuminati, maybe the Freeman. You know what? There's probably a secret society above the Illuminati. Now that we figured out who the fucking that the Illuminati, now that we've looked at the back of the $1 bill, man, there's probably a group above the Illuminati who are sitting there saying, all right, well, yeah, let them take the fucking heat. All right, we're cool with it. But what's happening is they're using this as, okay, let's make people wear masks. So already we have more and more communication done through technology, through texting, through, there's the whole joke, you look at people coming up, they just text and don't look each other in the eyes and, sit at dinner and talking to other people. There's some to that. And I think that is a built-in thing by this one world government agency or whatever, to, get us away from, getting us away from, neighbor to neighbor talking or what have you. And if you look at what the mask is doing, I notice it going into the store. If I'm walking, if me and someone try to turn down the same aisle, I will mouth the word, sorry. Even though I'm not at fault, but it's like saying, hey, I see you there, and whatever. So really now, if you want to let someone know, you have to announce it very loudly and look like a douche nozzle, or you just have to walk by and assume they know you're not a dick. And I got bumped with a shopping cart the other day at the store. And, no big deal. I can tell, I get very angry a lot of times. So, over shit like this. So, I'm very much a 0 to 60 guy. I'm either at 0 or 60. I don't have 30 when it comes to anger. But I get bumped and, the person's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I say, oh yeah, no, it's okay. And I kind of had like a grin on my face because it's like, oh yeah, I'm trying to say, hey, yeah, look, I'm fine. I'm not being sarcastic. Like we're cool. They don't know that. So if you look at it, you could say, so obviously we're taking away a personal interaction there, already personal reaction, which is what we're trying to do. Move to computer things. And then what they used it for is to say, hey, look, we have a coin shortage now. So here's what you're going to do. Either pay with your card or you have to have exact change. What is everyone doing? They're paying with their cards now. We've been trying to go to a cashless society for so long. The problem is, two of the biggest, if not the biggest, money-making things in the country are sex and drugs. Prostitution, not legal, still has to be used with cash. Drugs, not legal, still has to be used with cash. So until those things can get legalized, which, that's another point right there. We're trying to move away to a one world, monetary system. You can only do that if everywhere goes cashless. However, having sex and drugs illegal is beneficial to those people who are wanting to, control us, to be the one world government. It's an interesting dilemma they have, and I'm gonna be interesting to see how it works out. But all this is, the mask was just another way they found out to move to a computerized and, I guess, segregated society where, your family, their family, there's no neighborhood anymore. What they didn't see coming was how quickly people got used to video chatting and, over Zoom and over they didn't realize how, so that's going to put a damper in that whole thing. They didn't realize how quickly that was going to happen. So, watching Django Unchained right now. It's one of the few Tarantino movies I don't have to watch or have to hear really to enjoy. I mean, people beating the shit out of each other and getting shot. It's all right by me. What the mask is doing, I think it's helping, or it's less beneficial for health than it is beneficial for the world or whatever. That's what I got. So, Trump getting COVID is probably, in my opinion, the whole one world government thing. Obviously, you can tell I'm on my fourth 7.5 beer, so my voice is going a little bit. What you really notice with all this conspiracy nonsense, and I've been trying to drag this out, is sports have not been my friend lately. Again, I'm missing out on Premier League darts because of my fucking stupid tablet. The 49ers look weaker than FDR's legs right now, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. So, I don't know. I mean, luckily I got playoff baseball, which is... it's looking fucking good. If you look at the other night, I mean, the Dodgers put the wood to the Braves 15-1 or something like that, but they come back to... It was a fluke because the Dodgers... the first two games have been close. This game tonight wasn't as close, but... So it was just the one game. I mean, Kershaw got outdealt by Bryce Wilson. So Houston's up 3-1. I'm sorry, Atlanta's up 3-1 over LA. The more I talk, because, you look at that, and, Mookie Betts and Cody Bellinger are fucking lost. So that's why LA's losing, and that's why they're going to lose. And I think it's done. Your ace Kershaw loses to, which Kershaw hasn't really impressed me as a playoff pitcher. He's not a Randy Johnson. He's not a Kurt Schilling in the playoffs. I'm sorry. They try to compare the two, but I just don't see it. Mookie Betts is another one of those, $500 million players who isn't going to, produce in the playoffs. Bellinger had a couple shots that just didn't get it out. Then we go up and we look at the cheaters versus Tampa Bay, and it's awesome. One of the main sign stealers, Jose Altuve, cannot throw to first base. There was the game 2 days ago where he made 3 throwing errors. And in the game tonight, I mean, Houston ended up winning on a walk-off by Correa. But in the game tonight, there was 2 throws from second base to first base that had to be dug out by the first baseman. So watching a cheater have that much trouble is just fantastic. He is hitting okay, but still. And then you look at Tampa Bay, and it really fucking annoys me. It's watching another Seattle Mariner. Mike Zunino came up through the system and all that. And all of a sudden, he's fucking hitting in the playoffs. He's never hit in the regular season for anybody. Seattle tried and tried and tried because they saw the potential of the hitter. And quite honestly, for my money, he is the most fun guy to watch behind the plate. It's that simple. I mean, you watch him steal strikes. You watch how he blocks pitches. Now all of a sudden, oh, wait, you mean to say if I get in the playoffs, I can start hitting now? Yeah, you could have done that in the fucking regular season to make sure you got to the playoffs. Just another thing that just annoys me being a Seattle fan. So I have to watch Zunino learn how to hit. Although, what is it? That series is 3-2 right now. Tampa Bay's up. Houston's going to win 2 in a row. Houston, I think, has a chance just with the experience they have up and down their lineup. Looking at the other, where it's Atlanta's up 3-1. LA has no chance. I mean, even with the pitchers you have going, even with the LA doesn't have as big of a experience gap so anyway, I'm calling it right now. It's Atlanta versus the winner of the Houston Tampa Bay series. I'm taking Tampa Bay simply for the fact that they're up 3-2. So that's what we got. And I really had to sell that. The 49ers look fucking terrible. My AFL team got knocked out by about 70 points or scores or whatever the fuck they call it in Australia. And that's another fucking thing. I want to talk to you, Fox Sports. Over the last weekend, knew playoffs were starting in the Australian Rules Football League. And so I'm sitting there looking to record. It helps your ratings if it's recorded because technically it's tuned in, right? But the last 2 weeks, you couldn't have it there. Now all of a sudden it's back on. Like, what the fuck? I mean, how many old Red Bull soapbox derby championships do you have to fucking show? I'm trying to watch these dumbass sports that you have on at 3 a.m. And guess what? I'm enjoying some of them. I still think rugby's pointless, while AFL I kind of get the point too. So I don't know if I'm the best one to talk right now, and that's another thing is I'm okay with watching professional bowling. I've gone on record to say, if you look at the show's Instagram count is very pro bowling. But I don't need to see replays while there are plenty of good playoff AFL games going on. So this is actually might be one of the most buzzed I've ever been after one of the recording. The 7.5 beers are doing them. Again, New Belgium Brewing. Fantastic. Not sure if Fort Collins Brewery is gonna sponsor me. But hey, I know some people in that area, so I could do my best. Juicy Haze IPA. Definitely recommend it. What did I want to say? So that's what I got. Baseball. The Lakers won. Well, LeBron won. I've heard it said on multiple platforms that this was not an LA win. This was a LeBron win. He doesn't care about the history of the Lakers. He cares about his brand. What have you. And watching the finals and just kind of watching how him and the team reacted, you kind of saw that. So There was that. Masters is coming up. I didn't win as many golf tournaments as I should have. Now the year's winding down. And that's another thing. What would be I'm sitting here watching Django Unchained. What would be absolutely fucking perfect right now is there's a Law and Order marathon going on currently on one of the channels. I love Law and Order for the simple fact that it is the last bastion of, I'll say this term even though I hate it, toxic masculinity left, or that was on TV. Kind of the last spot, I would say. Where you look at it, it was two dudes figuring out who did the murder. Then you watched a dude and the chick who works for him, who always a hot chick who worked for him, prosecute, and she was always the runner, and he always figured it out because she was too inexperienced. But yeah, you look at fucking they always had a piece of ass as the assistant district attorney, and they were always just sitting on the bench, waiting for. They even tried having a female detective one time, and the viewer's like, "Nope, nothing with that. Bring on the bipolar guy from 6 Feet Under." Anyway, Law and Order could never be made today, just for that simple fact. Just for the fact that they just were so outlandish with their sexism. It was great. Not racism. I mean, they had, one of the earliest detectives on that show, African American. They had a female African American lieutenant, a Puerto Rican, I want to say he was. I don't know, some sort of Hispanic in there that definitely weren't racist, but definitely sexist, and I definitely appreciate that show for it. Before I close up, what I wanted to say, and I know I was kind of all over the place, and I promise I'm going to listen back to this when I edit it, and anything I missed or I didn't get to that I wanted to get to, that I started to get to and went off on a different track. Anything that happened, I will make sure to address in the next episode, which, if my schedule goes the way I want it to, if I can pull my fat ass off the couch long enough to do it, will be within 7 days. Within, I said. Within. So, yeah, because that's what you want to do. Podcasts are mostly listened to during the week. So, here's what you want to do. You want to get one edited and posted on Friday. That's smart. God damn, I'm fucking terrible. By the way, I just want to let you know, like I said in my last episode, I am very open, or maybe in 2 episodes ago, I'm very open to being scammed. And by golly, another one hit me up in the email this time again. And I just want to say thank you again for looking at me, as someone who could be scammed. Here's what you got to do, however. You gotta hide the Middle Eastern accent. I don't know if it's Indian or whatever it is, but you could just, I don't know how to explain it, but you could just read with their punctuation and with what they pluralize and what they don't. You could definitely tell that it's a foreign company with a U.S. P.O. box. You could see it right there. But you gotta do better than that. You did. I gotta tell you, you did great. This is one of the first scams that I saw where they actually personalized it, where they actually looked in and said, "Oh, this email is with this podcast, so we are going to name that podcast numerous times in the email." It was fantastic, really top notch. But you have to edit really, if you're gonna scam somebody, you have to get a proofreader. Spell check immaculate. Every word was spelled correctly. It was the punctuation, and it was the way that it all came across. I just said the word 3 seconds ago. Anyway, punctuation and really is what led you down a bad road. But what I'm hoping is the fact that you were so quick from the last time I posted my episode to when you sent that email. I hope you're listening, and if you are, I thank you for your listenership. And I would also like to say you're welcome for depositing these thoughts into your ear at all times. So again, I'm over to be scammed. Do better. So real quick, I'm finishing up right now. I'm drinking Voodoo Ranger Juicy Haze IPA from New Belgium. Fantastic beer. It is a... It's going to sound like a fucking Carpet Clean commercial. A heavy beer without the heavy taste. But no, that's exactly what it is. I'm feeling way better than I should right now, based on how this tastes. Went through the debates, I still got to talk about DUIs. I'll do that next episode. Alright, before I close out, before I finish my last Juicy Haze IPA from Voodoo Ranger, I just gotta say, Randy, it's here, bud. Gloves are here. I got the promoter. I got the trainer. Just wait for the opponent, bro. That's what I forgot to mention. I'm not sure if people are gonna here. Do me a favor, if you listen to the end of this podcast, if you listen all the way to the end, just comment Seattle on Instagram or Twitter or something along that. Comment Seattle somewhere that I could see it, so I know that you listen to the end. Because here's what was brought up to me from my good friend and trainer, is that I really did try to drop the gloves with Randy in Seattle. However, I don't remember shit from that day. I was on different meds. I was drinking too much, and so he already backed down to a guy who could barely stand. So who knows what he's going to do to a guy who can actually talk. Anyway, the offer's there for you. Still waiting. Got my trainer. Got my promoter. I'm doing all the outside work. All you got to do is get in the ring, bud. All right, well, with that, if you've listened all the way through, go ahead and throw me that comment, because going forward, if I see enough of these, I'll throw in a little special Easter egg at the end of shows going forward. Beyond that, I think that's all I got. Enjoy the baseball playoffs. Game 1 of the World Series is going to be Tuesday, so hopefully, if everything works well, don't hold me to this, assholes, unless you're going to start paying me. Everything goes well, you will see an episode the day before that happens, so you'll get a preview of sorts. Beyond that, I want to thank whoever recommended Voodoo Ranger Juicy Haze IPA. Fantastic beer. And it was definitely did its job. I wanted to, I'm rambling now, so you can definitely tell it's going. I wanted to kind of have a show where I started relatively coherent and ended the way I'm feeling right now. And I think this is kind of the first show where I kind of straddled that line where at about 30, you could kind of feel the way I went. So I'm glad. So anyway, 7.5 beer if you got it. Anyway, if you got anything along those lines, Voodoo Ranger Juicy Haze IPA, especially local, let me know. I will, whatever topics you want to hear, hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, C² Hour. You can email me, c²hour@gmail.com. Comment Seattle or email Seattle if you listen all the way through. And if nothing else, I will see you next time.